What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mars through Sign series. And today we're going to be doing Mars through the sign of Aries. And Mars actually owns the house of Aries, the sign of Aries. And it's considered its Mool Trikon sign, meaning, if you don't know, if you're new here, meaning that he considers Aries his permanent home. And even though Mars owns Scorpio as well, think of Scorpio as his vacation home. Meaning that he goes there once a year, but he's like, kind of feels out of his element. He's like, okay, well, I had a good time, but I need to go back because I do not know the city that much. I'm really not, I really don't feel near the city here. It's just like in the mountains somewhere. But okay, it's my home. You know, I own it. But that's fine. But my real home is that house of Aries. And what is, though, the sign of Aries? Sign of Aries is impulsivity, activity, sports, competition, dominance. It represents youth. It represents using your body for sports, for action. Okay, Aries is an action-oriented sign. But I will probably be the only one to say this because I'm sure you have read it there a lot of places. You have seen a lot of things where you feel that a planet in its own sign is very comfortable, very good. It's very good. But I guess I'll probably be the first one to say this, that Mars in the sign of Aries is not that good. But you got to hear me out before you make your conclusion about this. Because remember, I just described to you what Aries is. And what is Mars? Mars is exactly what Aries is. He's a soldier. And soldier needs to use his body, needs to be bold, needs to take action, and needs to defend. He's very competitive. He needs to win the war so he can please the president and then be out of a job and have no benefits. Little humor there. But when you put two and two together, what it does, it like puts a NOS gas in a car. It puts fire under Mars. So here Mars now becomes competitive, becomes dominant, becomes like goes into the marine mode. Mars is always looking for opportunity to just attack, because Mars, in a true sense of it, is like a charging army, you know. And so, like Sam Jippy says, it's a great analogy that he gives, is that Mars is like when you question somebody, why did you do this? Suddenly Mars nature comes into play because you defend your actions. Like, oh, I did this because I did this, this, and this. This is why I did this. What's your problem? So you see how your Mars nature comes out? Now imagine, and everybody does this, everybody defends their action, no matter if you have Mars in Pisces, Mars in Libra, or Mars in Aries. But you know what the difference is with Mars and Aries person? Once you question Mars and Aries person, they'll be on your face. They'll be like, yeah, I did this, what's your problem? You know, I believe in this. This is why I did it. He becomes aggressive. He becomes that Marine. This is what I'm going to defend. And this is what I did. You don't like it, I'm going to shoot you. So that's what happens here with Mars. And even though it's his Mool Trikon sign, he feels comfortable. It's like taking a soldier and putting him into a war zone instead of a home. He's going to feel in his element. He's like, all right, let's gear up and let's see who I need to shoot and who I need to blow up. That's what happened. This is why it's not really a good sign, but it's a good sign only in certain houses. But when Mars is in this house, he becomes competitive. He needs to win a competition. He needs to win that war. He needs to take action and be competitive towards those things. So wherever it's placed, he's going to be competitive towards those things. In the first house, it can represent an athlete. It represents a very dominating personality. It can represent a dominating boss, somebody who's probably in the government or military. Even the 4th house and 10th house are seen with that, but this can also, it affects their entire personality. So no matter what they do in life, they will be very competitive, aggressive, and in a military mode about those things. If Mars is in the 2nd house, they'll be very aggressive and they will be very dominating towards family assets, family lineage, savings. They will strive to compete towards those things, and they will destroy anybody who comes and stops them from having those savings. This is why Mars energy gets that double, effect here. It's like just putting a NOS gas on a rocket. Rocket is already going up. You put a NOS gas, he's going to go up 10 times the speed. And so this is why, if you notice about in Vedic astrology, there's something called Manglik Josha, meaning that if Mars is in the first, second, 12th, first, second, fourth, seventh, and eighth house, it becomes very aggressive towards marriage and married life. And if now imagine if Mars is in the fourth house, or Mars is in the seventh house, in his own sign of Aries, people think, oh yeah, Mars is very dignified. He's in his Multrikon sign, very good. No, it's going to make this person dominating towards this, the houses that the Mars is aspecting. So from the fourth house, Mars will aspect the seventh house, the 10th house, and the 11th house. They will be very dominating in their home, because fourth house is your home. Very competitiveness and very aggressiveness between the native and his mother. Then he's going to be competitive and dominating to their partner. And no one wants to be dominated, because marriage is an equal thing. And then on the career side, that's where Mars is going to be very career or very dominating to his colleagues, very dominating in the professional field. He's going to try to rule over his colleagues, and then he's going to have problems at work. Same thing with the friends and friends network and his professional networks in the 11th house. He's going to be very dominating and aggressive towards those things. This is why he's not really good in certain houses with these signs. The only placement for Mars, which is very good, is the Pacha houses. Whenever Mars is in the sign of Aries in a Pacha house, 3rd house, 6th house, 10th house, and then 11th house, that's when Mars is going to be very positive for you, because 3rd house, all these houses that are Pacha houses, first of all, they grow better with time. It makes a person dignified through time, and these are the houses that are very important for your career success. 3rd house is your efforts, your power, your willpower. So Mars there, who's already a Karka of the 3rd house, will give you that absolute willpower to go out in a world and win the war. Because outside of this home, this protection of home, once you step outside, you do not have protection. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So you better have that strong Mars to survive. This is why in the 6th house, Mars will dominate his enemies, defeat all kinds of diseases, and come out victorious. 10th house of career, of leadership, he will become the dominating leader of his career. He will do whatever it takes to win and strive so he can go on to the higher plateau, make more money. So this is why Mars is good in this sign only in the Pacha houses, where the other signs will bring a lot of trouble. It can, like a 9th house of your higher learning, your teachers, your father's education, what father taught you. You'll be very competitive towards those things. You will question your teacher. You will dominate your teachers. And no, you're wrong. This is how it's supposed to be done. Dad, you didn't teach me this right. You're wrong. And then you will butt heads with your father. So this is why it's so important to understand that not every planet is going to act dignified just because they're in their Multrikon sign. And Mars is probably, I would say, the only planet that I can totally see that he brings about too much aggression, too much dominance. It's okay to be dominant. It's okay to be aggressive. It's okay to have a good willpower. But when you're in that military mode all the time regarding the things where Mars is sitting in and it's aspecting, it really will create enemies for you. You will create a lot of enemies. This is why your marriage will not work out. Your partner will be like, dude, honey, you're too dominating. I need a divorce right now. I need to leave. So whether it's a man or woman, they will be dominating towards those things. So this is why, although this is a good placement for Mars because it energizes your willpower, yet there's an over amplification of that, over competitiveness. So unless you're an athlete, you're in a military, you're in government, or you're in police or a firefighter or security, these are the best positions for you to having these things. Now, if you're a wife, and you're in home, your Mars is in the 4th house in the sign of Aries, you'll be very dominating towards your kids. You'll be very dominating towards your husband, and your husband and your kids will be like, God, who did I marry? Or, oh my God, what kind of house was I born into, having this kind of a mother? So this is why I truly consider that Mars becomes just way too much. Too much of his energies is exerted in a chart when Mars is an Aries sign. Okay, so, but again, you gotta understand one thing also: the nakshatras. There are more calmer nakshatras, like Mars in Ashwani will be far more aggressive versus Kritika, and versus Bhrani. in the sign of Aries, which we'll discuss when I do planets through nakshatras. That's where I really want to discuss all these things. So, and also you got to understand, if you have Mars in Aries and you're like, well, this guy really is not right because I'm not very impulsive towards my action. I think before I do something. Well, first of all, you got to understand, if a planet is aspecting Mars, it's going to change the nature of Mars. So if Jupiter aspects Mars, he's going to make Mars think more and be more wise about his action. So when you criticize Mars, somebody with Mars and Aries, they'll be like, well, they're going to analyze first. They'll be like, well, why is he really criticizing this? And then there will be a bit more calm. Even though they will defend, because Mars energy is still active, they'll be more wise about it. They'll be like, well, why do you think this is wrong? And then when the other person counter argues, like, well, this is wrong because of this, then you'll be like, no, it's here because of this, this, and this. And then you'll probably win their argument, but it won't be like in his face that, no, you're wrong, get out of here. Because Jupiter aspects makes you wise, brings you a bit more wisdom. Saturn aspect or conjunction with Mars in this house will give him more discipline and make his action more organized. So if he's about to compete, he will not just go out and just start bashing his enemies. He will be more organized. He will be more disciplined. He will wait for the right opportunity to strike. He will not just strike. He will again be more disciplined that, okay, am I really doing this the right thing? Because Saturn is also law, like Jupiter. So you will think about the law. Am I breaking the law by doing this? Am I really following the right procedure? So you see, if you have an aspect, this description may not fit you as well. So guys, this was my analysis of Mars in the sign of Aries. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you can check out your other signs and houses, and more information to be coming soon. And if you want to know where your Mars is placed and what sign it's placed in, check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart so you can see if you're dominating or not. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with Mars and Taurus. And remember, this Friday, we have an interview coming up with Doctor of Vedic Astrology, Mr. Chakrapani. And it'll be live at noon on my channel. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because that's the only way you'll be able to watch it. Otherwise, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. What? You actually made it this far into the video? All the way to the end? Man, you must be crazy! Well, since you're already crazy enough to go this far, then might as well join the insanity by clicking that little button above where it says subscribe here. Or you can subscribe below by that little button that you see below the video. And like I told you, if you want to know where your planets are placed, where your conjunctions are, what aspects you're receiving, what planetary time period you're running through, check out this corner link below, okay? Read the directions there, because when you get the book, my Astrology at the Speed of Light book, and you follow the directions by sending me the email, I send you the link to look at your own chart so you can study everything about you. And if you want to read some more articles on astrology and every little details that I've written on my website, check out this corner link below. And this will take you to my website and to my article page where I've written tons of stuff, okay? Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with some more insane video. Bye-bye.